Hello and welcome to the 8th edition of the Metrology for Software Platform webinars. Today we're going to be looking at the production interface, spending a little bit more time understanding what it does and how it works, and we'll have a lot of demonstration of the software where we can show how we interact with the production interface. So what we'll do is we'll transfer across to the software and we'll make a start. So on the screen you should be familiar now with the live instrument that we have within the Metrology for Software platform. Currently we are in the instrument view where we can see the virtual instrument. Obviously, as we move along, the analysis tab comes up. So this is where we've got the analyses going on, and right on the end here is the production interface. Okay, and this is what we'll be concentrating on a little bit more today, and giving you some extra insight in how it actually works. So I'm going to just move back to the instrument view initially, and through the instrument view and through the measurement toolbar that we have in the top left hand corner, this is where we would normally type in our name, type in our length, so let's put 10mm length, specify our measurement speed, and as per previous demonstrations of the software, we have basically chosen a analysis template to be assigned to the physical measurement. So I can press OK and the measurement on the screen appears and it's transferred into the analysis software. And if I just close down these two windows to concentrate on that, and you can see there is the analysis of this particular roughness profile. So that's one way of doing it. If I go back to the instrument view, through this 2DX measurement window, this is where I would have to enter all of the different information that I would want when measuring different parts. There is another way to do a similar type of measurement, and that is to run a program. And programming has already been covered in a previous webinar, of which all the webinars are available on our website. So if you have missed anything in the past, we can obviously catch up with previous webinars. So programming has been covered previously. So in here I have a very simple measurement, which is to clear the data, move to a position, take a 2DX measurement and apply a template and do a move back to a safe position. So if I have opened the program editor, as you see, and I press run, you'll see on the screen, we'll zoom in a little bit so you can see, but the instrument will move down, move into contact with the part. You'll see the measurement coming across, and that will be then transferred over to the analysis window where it will then be analysed. If I just move back quickly, you'll see this moving back to its home position. So the difference here is that I've programmed this up to do exactly the same kind of measurement and analyses, but I've done it in an automatic way that I'm not actually asking for a measurement length or applying a particular template. It's all pre-programmed, and this could be a program that is part specific. The analysis that's come up is obviously here, and you can see that's the result that's been applied. So I've applied the same template as I had applied previously. There's a third way of doing exactly the same thing. So if I close this programming window down, I've also assigned it to one of our macro buttons that sits at the top of the software, and this allows us a very quick shortcut to run a part specific program. So again, if I press on there, you'll notice that the instrument will come to a move to a predetermined point, come in contact with the part, take the measurement again, transfer that across to the analysis window, and again we have another result on the screen. So that's another way of being able to do it. So we'll just have a quick recap on that. So manual measurements through the 2DX measurement window, automatically through recalling a program and opening that up from wherever it is saved, so that we can do a part-specific program, and the assignment of those part-specific programs in our macro buttons. And these are all user set. There's no predetermined macros that we send. These are all things that end users would do for themselves. So taking that into account, if I go over to the production interface, we're going to do exactly the same, if you like, in the production interface, and then look at some of the key aspects that we can do in there. So the key attributes for the production interface is the level of automation and the summary results that we get with this particular side of the platform. So the production interface is standard on the PGI Novus instruments. That's our flagship surface and contour and form instrument, and it's an option on other models, but predominantly it will give you a summary of all of the parameters that we've analysed. You can assign some kind of nominal or upper and lower tolerances to it, and you would then get information relating to pass and fail. And then we do have a high level of automation of exporting results automatically, and being able to control all of this in an automatic fashion. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new test plan and very quickly set up a new test plan in relation to the measurements that you've just seen. So in creating a new test plan, you can see I've got two modes here. One is user input, one is QDAS mode. Okay, I'll explain that in a little while. We're going to go straight into a new user input mode. And for this example, I'm going to ignore these template files because these are already preset. And once they're preset, we never necessarily need to revisit them. So for this example, I'm just going to call it roughness, press OK, and you can see what it's done is, and I'll just bring that window across, it's created a new test plan settings, and part number, part serial number and operator have come from the predetermined characteristics that were set when we asked for a new test plan. On this example, I have the ability to choose different parts and enter a serial number, and obviously enter numerous different operators as well. And once I've entered this and made sure this is all correct and chosen the right settings, I can press OK, and you'll notice now that I've now created the roughness template. So what I'm going to do is, you can see at the moment that there is no information relating to what this test plan is going to do. So we need to create that. So if we have pre-measured or pre-performed any programs or measurements, we can have the ability to actually bring them into a production interface, into a test plan very, very quickly. So I'm going to go straight to edit programs. And there are two programs, Park and Measure. The way that this system works is whenever we press play, it will automatically run the Park program. That will take the stylus and the gauge out of the way, allow you to mount the component in any fixture, and then it will run the Measure program, where it will come back into contact with the part and measure. And then at the end of the measurement sequence and then the analysis sequence, it would then run the Park program again to take the stylus out of the way to allow you to remove the part. So I'm going to first of all edit the Park program, and notice it's automatically opened the program editor, and then obviously we can see the Park program has already been loaded. This was the original program that we had run. What I'm going to do is we're going to just simply copy the position of the X and the Z, and I'm going to put this into edit mode, and then I can paste in. And that's the position of the Park, where the gauge is going to end up away from the part to allow you to load it and to unload it. So I can hit save, can close it down, I'll just close that window down so you can see how it works. So the programming window isn't open. Move back to the production interface, and you'll see I'm going to go back to edit programs, straight to the measure program. Automatically it's opened the program editor. Here's the measure program. And again, I'm going back to that previous measurement, if you like, that previous program that we had, and I'm going to copy those three, and then in here, Control V, and you can see that's my measurement window, and you can see that all of the settings in there are as per the previous one. So again, I'm going to save, close it down, close it down. And so what I've got now in the production interface is new test plan. I've edited the programs, and now what I'm going to do is simply just press play. Now, because I'm in the production interface and the way that this has been set up, it's now prompting me for information. So here I can choose which part that I'm actually going to physically measure. I can type in the part serial number, and I can also type in what the operator is. Okay, so all of this value information will be added to the measurement that we're going to be taking. So this is where we get pure traceability. Everything that we enter here as part of this prompt will be associated with any of the data that we currently or we subsequently measure and analyse and save. So full traceability to part numbers, serial numbers, operators. This is just one option, one method of doing it. You may have various different names and various different value inputs that you can decide on as per your requirements. So I'm going to press OK. I'm going to quickly just move across to the instrument view, and what you'll see is run the part program. So it's moved it out of the way, and then we've obviously come down to a known position. It's coming into contact, taking a measurement, and then passing that to the analysis window where it will be analysed. And then subsequently, when we move back to the production interface, you will then see that the background is yellow. And the background is yellow at this stage because this part of the production interface doesn't know what it's actually analysing at this point. So what we need to do is go into our settings, and I'll just move across and grab that window. So here's the settings. What we're interested in now is setting up these characteristic settings. So whatever I've analysed, I now need to be able to import. So I'm going to import all of the results. Okay, so any results, any texturization, if you like, that we've analysed, any text, any results, anything that's in that analysis result as a text file will come through here. So what I'm actually wanting to analyse is, within the production interface, is any of the roughness results. I'm not interested in any levelling angles or any of the other information. So this is where I'm going to deselect these from being displayed as a summary sheet inside the test plan here. Now at this point, I do have the option to be able to decide what the decimal places are, decide whether I'm going to put in a nominal value, any lower, any upper tolerances, and other things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to enter some information. Now, I know that these are all parameter results, and actually the lower tolerance result that I'm looking for on any of these surface finish results is always going to be 0 on this occasion. The upper limit is, again, whatever I want to set. So based on some of the results that we've got, I can type these values in, which is what I'm doing here. Normally you will need some kind of indication of what these particular parameters or values should be. These would normally come from your drawing, and you would just basically type them in from your drawing tolerances. So I've typed those in, and I'm going to press OK, and instantly you will see all of the parameters that I've asked for it to analyse and summarise are now brought forward, and you can see the tolerances that I've applied. Now you can see that those results have purely come from this text box here that lists all of the parameters. But like we said, any other text results, so these two were obviously there, all of these were available for me as well to bring through. Any text that's in the document, in the analysis document, will be pulled forward and be made available in here. And as an operator, we just decide what we want to display. So now we've done all of the same thing. If I press play again I can change these numbers. Let's give it a different serial number and press OK. You can see in the top right hand corner I've got a time remaining. So this is a countdown. It's telling me what it's physically doing, and this is based on previous runs of this particular test plan. And so once we've ensured that the program is running okay, that will start to give a more up-to-date reading. So measurements being taken, the analysis results being taken, and you'll notice that the information has been passed over to the production interface, and you can now see nice green at the back of the results, an indication of where the past results are. So these are the actual results summarized here. This is the upper tolerances, and this is where they fall within that tolerance. Obviously, the closer they are to this middle bar here is the closer they are down to the 0. And what's happened automatically in the background is that it has automatically exported the results. So again, if I move back to C drive report, this is the last one that I've just done. So I've automatically got a folder here called Part A, serial number 7654, and the date and the time. If I double click in there, you will see I have the result, which is saved in the format that's exported from the instrument, which is an MNT file. So that's the actual raw analysis. I also have a PDF of that report, and at this occasion I can see I've got all of the value information that it was prompted for, what part it is, what the serial number is, what the operator was, what the time was, whether it's passed, and I can see a copy of all of the pass-fail criteria here. And if I travel, if I move down within the document, you'll see I've actually got the PDF of the results included as well. So that's the report. What you also get is the CSV data. So if you remember, we created a CSV test plan, so therefore I have a CSV export. So just wait a few seconds for that to open. So there's a result on the screen. Let's just put the column width in so we can see them all. So here's all of the part number and all the value information that we've related and we put in. Here's the status that it's all passed. Here's the results and the parameters and the units. Here's the actual parameter results. Here's the upper and lower tolerances that we put in there, whether it's passed or failed and whether that's true or not. So we can then use that file for doing any further SPC work that we want to with that particular CSV file. Okay, and that's been automatically exported. Now we've exported that to the C drive, but obviously that could go out to any network drive where you could keep it safe. So one of the things that we've done there is we created a user input mode, a CSV type of test plan. Okay, so the other option that we have in here is the QDAS mode. So I'm just going to move back to the instrument view, because the QDAS mode basically means that we are certified, this software is certified to give us the category C, the AQDF certification for outputting the results into a QDAS format. Okay, we're not doing any statistical analysis here. What we are certified for is to output into a particular format that the QDAS software can actually understand. So if I go back to the production interface, here's the summary result here. If we go back to the test plan explorer, we can see these are all the test plans that I have physically at the moment. If I want to show them in a different mode, we can open them up in a part image mode, so then we can start to identify different parts visually, and we can obviously reduce those into smaller icons if we want as well, but I'll leave it in the kind of test plan explorer mode that we have here, and I'll just open this particular basic shaft measurement here. Now notice that this is in a K field. Now this is the QDAS output, so you'll notice that all of the QDAS output, the K fields, these are predetermined K fields that would normally be supplied to us by the end user. These are predetermined for your organisation, and we can bring in the same QDAS configuration file when we are creating a new test plan. So if I went to a QDAS mode to create a new test plan, you'll notice that we have a template file which would normally be supplied by yourselves, and we have a default catalogue file which again is produced by yourselves. So standard things that we just drag into the software. We then create the test plan in exactly the same way. Now when we run this one, and again I'll do the same thing, here I'm being prompted that I must enter some kind of serial number. Obviously I can enter the change of operator name, machine number. I'm prompted for all this part information and value information. I press OK, and again this is going off to do a very simple kind of measurement of roughness at this point. Now notice at this stage it's done the analysis, it's updated the results in the summary sheet, and it's asking me whether I do actually want to output these results. There may be a problem, and that problem may be something relating to the part, or something else has gone wrong. So if I output these results where I've got some kind of failure that's due to another reason, then maybe I don't want to export these results. So within the configuration of the test plan, we can state always export no matter what, or if something fails, ask if we wanted to export them. I'm going to say yes, but you'll notice now that the back of this particular backdrop has gone red to determine that it is something has failed. You can see all the individual fails, you can see all the pass fail criteria here as well, and obviously we've got some bi-directional kind of tolerancing on there as well. The analysis side, more of a basic kind of layout here, but again we've got some internal tolerances in here as well. Now they have also been exported out, so if we go back to the folder view and I go to the report, you'll notice that that's the file that we've exported, and if I go into there you'll see there's the analysis document. Okay, here is the report where I've got a list again of all of the pass fails and the value and part information. Underneath is the parameter result as well. There's no CSV export at this particular occasion because this is a QDAS test plan. So if I go back to the C drive, you'll see there's QDAS data, there's standard production, and in there is again which part and which serial number did we apply. And these DFX and DFD are QDAS supported files. So these are in a QDAS format. Normally QDAS is always running in the background. It would see these files coming through. It would pull them out, delete them from this particular location, do any analyses on the actual data, which is just QDAS formatted, so it goes straight into their QDAS analysis package and gets analysed, where it gets included in the statistical analysis there. So that is a very quick overview of how we use the production interface to automatically analyse, to automatically give us some summary data up front on the screen to be able to show us the actual analyses results, to automatically export to particular locations, and that automatic export could be any QDAS data, any CSV data. We'll always include the report that you see on the screen and a copy of the analyses as well, all in an automatic fashion. Now, at some point in the future, there'll be another webinar that actually explains how to set up the whole of the layout, or the work layout that we have here. And by that I mean that some of these icons we wouldn't necessarily want a user on the shop floor level, if you like, to have access to, and we can start to remove these and set them up for individuals and individual kind of processes, like, for example, shop floor or other programming kind of structures that we need to put in place. So that will be covered in another webinar, but that's a general overview of this particular production interface. Now, this is just dealing with one particular measurement. Okay, what we can do is we can take this one step further and we can start to expand it into a palette of parts. So if I go back to the Explorer view, you can see here I've got a palette, two palette modes if you like, but this palette interface that we have here is now saying that I'm still in the production interface, but now I'm actually dealing with numerous different sites. So you can see this is actually set up to measure 5 sites, and these are the 5 sites that we have down here. And this is a very quick and easy way to actually set up the production interface to work with multiple parts. So I already have a program, if you like, that has been written for one, and I just want to apply it to several different positions. So just as a very quick example to further our understanding of the production interface, I'm just going to run a video of the palette of parts which uses the production interface. So there's the parts that we're going to measure. These are made up of double-sided parts which are for pass or for fail, and you'll notice that we have some kind of calibration ball to locate where we are in the part coordinate system, and we are now moving to these individual parts. So this has all been run from the production interface, like you can see on the screen now, and it's measuring part 1. You can see that part 1 is flashing away, and in its movement across to the next part, you'll see that the production interface will update with all the pass-fail criteria for part 1, and that's being done simultaneously during the measurement of part 2. So again, part 2 is flashing, it's just finished and moving to the next part where it starts measuring, but that part also has now been updated on the screen. And this will continue to do this same process of moving, measuring and analysing all simultaneously. And this is exactly the same as a single part, but now we're doing it over several parts. So we can start to automate and allow the system to be run automatically without anybody being there to look after it. So here's the results. Results can be analysed individually or next to each other to do any visual comparisons. You can see some of the pass-fail criteria on this particular run. 2 has failed. This item is analysing previous data, and you can see that they've all passed okay. A bigger report, obviously, because there's more data coming through, and that's a very quick overview of the palette of parts interface, which is part of the production interface that we've been talking about today. So a very quick overview, but hopefully that's given you some insight. So what we'll do now is we'll go back to the live view, and then we'll look at answering any questions that you have. Okay, so just bear with me and I'll just check how many questions we've got. So it looks like we've got one question that relates to the reanalysis of data. So if I'm just going to switch back to the software so that we can just have a look at that. So just bear with me one moment. Okay, so on the screen now you can see the palette of parts that we've just spoken about. What I'll do is I will reopen the roughness test plan that we did earlier, and at the top of the screen I've got an import data button. So what I can do here is I can browse back to the report folder. I can browse back to a previously exported results folder, just highlight it and press OK. It will automatically bring back in the results, and you can see again you automatically get the pass-fail criteria coming up on the screen. It automatically opens up the actual result as well in the analysis side. So again, you've got two choices. You can either refer back to the PDF, or to answer the question specifically, you can just re-import that data, reanalyze, do any part, any manipulation to the data that you need or feel that you want to, and basically be able to look at the all older exported and data that you can reanalyze. Now that button, that import button, as we said, wouldn't necessarily be typically for shop floor use. So again, all of these, if not most of these buttons here, can be removed from the screen, stopping different users having access to it. But that's how we analyze previous data. There was another question that related to dirt. So maybe I've got you know, a previous measurement, and this has got some kind of spike or something on here that isn't reflective of the actual surface. Can we remove that? So it depends on how the analysis document has been set up. So in this particular document, I've got a surface that's come in. We've basically analysed it for the parameters and then shown some of the other images that you see on the screen. If I right mouse click on this profile as it comes in, I should be able to add an operator after, and what we'll do on there is we'll just retouch the surface. So this area that I've got here, this allows me in effect to remove any data from this particular profile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for this example, imagine there's a piece of dirt or something on there that I don't want to include in the analysis. Let's just move this out of the way. So just keep an eye on the parameters. These are the parameters with all of these profiles in. If I press OK and I exclude them, you'll notice that the parameters have been changed. That's because this data has been removed. Notice that the software is more than capable now to actually analyze the data over any interruptions that are in the surface. So all the parameters are being calculated with this middle section excluded. Now, these are the new parameters that you've got here. So if we check, for example, RT is 235. If we go back to the production interface, you'll notice that RT is still 243. That's because these results haven't actually been updated, and all we need to do at this point is hit update results. Okay, so typically what would normally happen at that point is it would normally update those results and actually give us a pass-fail criteria relating to those new parameters. So some things gone a little bit wrong with that, so I'll have a look at that for you. But typically we can remove any of that data and pass that information back through. There was another question relating to what we're limited to actually analyze in the production interface. Typically in the result manager that you see here, this is all of the parameters that we've analyzed. If there was a 3D result in here,
if there was a contour result, for example, these results would all be listed in the result manager. Okay, so anything that's in this result manager would be transferred across and analysed in the production interface. Now that would typically include other things that we've done to data as well. So any variables that we've added to the result manager, and these could be certain parameters that we've taken out, that we've done some calculation onto, or we've passed some additional data through and changed. So any variables that are added to the result manager would also be passed over into the production interface and listed there as well. So anything that's in the result manager, 2D, 3D, contour, any variables can also be analysed. So I hope that's answered the 2 or 3 questions that we've got there. As we said earlier, this particular webinar will appear on the Taylor Hobson website, as will any of our previous webinars. So if you have missed any of the previous ones, then please go back to the website and check those out. And if we have any further questions, again, contact us through the web. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time and your questions, and I'll see you next time for the latest webinar on the Metrology 4.0 platform. Thank you.